All right, Tiff, we have got a question.
Love them.
Someone asked, I want to become a real estate agent. Do you have any advice?
I do.
I bet you have a lot of advice.
I do have a lot of advice. So I'm guessing this is someone who just hasn't even started the process yet.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. Well, I'm going to assume for the sake of this that they haven't started the process
I would
yet.
assume the same thing.
So I would start by making sure that you pick a solid place to do your classes. Look at the instructors. Are these people that have, real experience in real estate? Have they been doing this long? What's their reputation like in the community? So that's where I would start.
Find the right class, real estate class to take.
Yeah. Number 2, inventory your life and ask yourself, why do you want to become a real estate agent? Because if you think it's because you're going to have more flexibility, you might, but not while also making a lot of money.
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of stats out there, and I can't rattle off the exact numbers, but we're going to give real general assumptions. I wish I would have wrote them down beforehand, but it's like 25% of the top 25% of real estate agents sell over 78% of all the houses.
Yeah.
So it's a really small percentage that sell a really high percentage. And there's another one out there. It was like less than 4% of real estate agents sold more than 10 houses.
Yeah.
In 2024. So like just based on those two stats, it's like, well, you're not going to do it to get rich, or you're not going to do it to have a bunch of flexibility if you want to be successful. Those ones that are selling 40, 50 houses that are actually making money, that are owning the top end of the market, they're busy.
Yeah. And it's, okay, maybe they're not punching a time clock, but they're also doing showings in the evenings and on weekends. So it's like, okay, well, what part of your life do you want to be busy? Do you need to be free during the day? And that's the thing that's like, okay, I want to go do this so that I can have flexibility during the week to have my kids at home. Okay, but inventory why you want to do this, because if your idea is I'm going to go make a bunch of money while also having a ton of flexibility to do things when I want on my terms, those two things very rarely coincide.
Yeah, I mean, we had talked about it before because it was like, well, Ryan, you know marketing, I know real estate. Let's look into just the possibility of being a real estate agent. It's like, well, I don't want to do showings after 4 p.m. and I don't want to work on the weekend. And those are the two exact times when most real estate agents are busy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense for me.
Not for our lifestyle. Those are probably like the main two things before you even get into it. But once you get into it, being willing to ask questions, but thoughtful questions. Like actually try to figure out the answer, especially when you're starting and it's like a general, like a definition question. You don't necessarily want to call your mentor and ask what the due diligence fee is. Use your resources. But ask thoughtful questions like, okay, I have tried, I've looked here, and I've done this, and I can't figure it out. This is what I've come up with, but I feel like that's not right. Like what, then ask your question. But do some, make some effort before you try.
I feel like the top agents we've talked to, we talked to some of the top agents in North Carolina, and I feel like a lot of the ones we've talked to that have become successful started off underneath somebody that was already successful, whether they worked for them or they somehow partnered with them in some capacity. But
observed everything they did.
They basically got a mentor that was already doing what they want to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then also, like, as a real estate agent, at least in North Carolina, you have a lot of access to attorneys, because in closings, that's our job, is to make sure that the transaction happens and in accordance with the contract. So I get a ton of questions from agents all the time about everything and anything. And I would say 95% of the time I don't mind that. I think there are some agents that take advantage, they might call you real late on a Saturday night because their uncle got a traffic ticket, and I don't do that, like, come on. Or they'll, some might wear you out because they haven't even made an attempt to try to figure out the answer. I don't want to be called on a non-legal question because you couldn't look in the contract to see what the contract says. Like if you've got a real legal question, I want to help you figure that out. But please don't make me read your contract for you. Please don't make me read your listing agreement for you when you've got that. But, that's the small minority of agents that I deal with. Most of them are wonderful and ask really good questions, and I'm like truly thrilled to get to talk to them when I do.
Some more advice you have for people if they want to become a real estate agent. Those ones we know that are doing well, what are some of the things that they're doing differently? Mm-hmm. What are they doing to acquire clients? How are they getting these listings? What are some of those?
Well, the number one thing that I see that they have in common is that they are just straight up with people. They don't just say the thing that people want to hear. They tell you the truth, whether it they think it might cut against their interest or not. So I just appreciate and respect those that are just going to lay it out there and be straight up about stuff. They don't sugarcoat. And those are the ones that I tend to see doing the best. But they also hustle. I mean, there's a lot to be said for like hustle culture. I don't necessarily mean like rise and grind, but I mean the people that are consistently putting in the work, and even when they have slow periods, they're taking the time to learn or get better at a certain skill that they need. There's no like off periods for them. They're always investing into their knowledge and their skill set.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I see is these agents that do really well are consistently out there meeting new people all the time. They're at the events at night. Mm-hmm. They are shaking as many hands as possible. They're meeting people, and they're providing value too. They're not just taking. They're also giving some sort of helpful information or advice, or connecting people. But the agents that do really well make relationships, and that's their job truly, is relationship building. Yeah,
I agree with that. And even if it's not, hitting up every young professionals event in town, it's through their church or their pickup basketball league or whatever. They're consistently showing up in the community to meet people that aren't just like in their family or in their immediate friend group. They're always branching out.
Yeah. Anything else you can think of for someone that's considering real estate as a career? I mean, you talk to no less than 2,500 agents a year at where we currently are. We have that many come through the doors, and that doesn't include your speaking engagement. So what do you hear from these agents, or what are you seeing that
stay up to date? The best agents also stay up to date on the forms that are coming out, the lawsuits that are happening, the trends, or some law changed that relates to covenants and restrictions. I need to know what that is. Or we'll have agents that they say they've been agents for 20 years. They haven't done a deal in a couple of years, so they'll submit to me an offer on a form from 2018.
Oh, we know. I'm sitting on the third floor of our law firm building right now.
Yep.
And the law firm is now on the second floor. It started on the second floor, and we moved up to the third floor. It's been down there for 4 years now. I'll have people come to my door and be like, I do all my deals here. When did you guys move down?
Years ago.
4 years ago. So you haven't done a deal in 4 years. Yeah. So staying up to date and, not BSing that you do all your deals here and stuff like that. Yeah. And be honest.
Either you don't, or you just don't do that many deals.
Yeah.
Either one's okay. Just be honest.
Yeah. No, I think that's some good information. I think, the real estate industry is a weird one. Mm-hmm. We had a ton of people get into it in that 2020, 2021
world.
It's
not for the weak.
Yeah. I mean, it's rare to find a real estate agent that's made a 30-year career out of it.
Yeah.
So I would suggest very first thing, go talk to some of those people that have done well in your area, and just ask them, what are their opinions?
Yeah. And when they tell you, listen and believe them.
Yeah.
And, you might have to adapt to some new ways or update their methods, but their methods work. And that's why they've had such a long career. So I completely agree with you.